Hello guys, it is teacher Alex here. I'm from Hellokid and today's video is basically going to be let's get you hired. Today I will talk about some tips I think will be very useful and very helpful, especially if you never worked online, since I will be sharing some tips for passing your interview and demo. You can use them to enhance your performance in the classroom so much more, and of course there is step number one throughout this whole process, and that is for you to apply. How can you apply? Well, that is pretty easy. You can simply send us your introduction video and your resume on the email I will leave in the description box, or you can simply visit our tutors page and apply that way too. When you pass your first step, you will then move on to your interview and demo, and that's where these tips come in handy. Another small tip before I start mentioning these is that when you enter the classroom, you will meet somebody from the Hellokid staff there. But you don't look at them as a grown-up. You look at them as a 5-year-old child with very limited English skills, and that's how you continue your performance on the lesson. Tip number one is maybe even the most important one, and that is energy. You need to have a lot of energy, be all over the place, very upbeat, smiley, happy, because they will pick up on energy like that. So if you are not fun, the child is going to look away, he's going to be bored, and if he's bored, he's not going to learn, which is not a good thing. So you need to have fun in order for a child to have fun. That's number one. Number two is basically the answer to the question that I get the most, and that is, how are you teaching them English? You don't speak Chinese, they don't speak English that well. How does that work? And the answer to that is TPR. TPR stands for Total Physical Response, and that means you are using your entire body as your biggest tool in order to convey what are you trying to teach them. So there are certain things you can explain with TPR, and that is where tip number three comes in handy. Tip number three are props. Props can be anything from stuffed toys to some fake flowers, which can also be a reward system, to your own school supplies, and there is one prop that I love the most and use the most, and that is the whiteboard. Whiteboard can be used for everything, from reward system to teaching phonics, letters, writing sentence patterns. You can draw anything you can find within arm's reach and you need at that point. So this is very helpful. Highly recommend whiteboard. Tip number four, which is slowly. Not just speaking slowly, but also clarifying what you speak, pronouncing the words correctly, because it is very important for the parents, for children to be as close to a native speaker as it is possible. So you do need to speak very slowly and very correctly. Okay, speaking slowly was something that I personally struggled with, because this is what happens when you rush, because I do tend to speak quickly. That can be done with some of the older students, but with your younger students, and especially during your demo lesson, you need to speak very slowly and very clearly. Even counting the words on your hand to show how many words there are in a sentence. For example, my name is Alex. So you want to model for them whatever you are trying to get them to say back to you. For example, when you're introducing yourself, you can say, hello, my name is teacher Alex. What is your name? Lucy. My name is Lucy. Good job. Nice to meet you, Lucy. Lucy, are you ready? Let's go! And then you carry on with the lesson. That short introduction should be used at the beginning of the classroom. It shouldn't involve too many questions. What's your name? Maybe how do you feel? How old are you? But not more than 3 or 4 questions, and then you move on with the lesson. You also need to correct their errors a lot. I mean a lot. You need to correct those errors because that is also pretty important for the parents. There is one thing that is maybe even more important than correcting those mistakes, and that is how you correct them. If you get them to feel pressured and like, oh, that's not what I said, you need to say, listen, like this. You need to make them feel relaxed. You need to encourage them to even make those mistakes, because making the mistakes is the biggest part of their learning process. So you need to encourage them that it's okay to make them, and just keep improving them along the way, and they eventually will get it. But don't make them feel pressured. That's not a good thing. There is one more tip, which is tip number 6, also known as the reward system. Reward system is kind of like a prop, because you use it to interact a bit more with the student, to teach them some new words maybe they don't know, and to make them feel rewarded, and to encourage them to try more, to keep on working this hard. So you don't have to go too overboard for your demo lesson. I think this is actually the one that I use. You can simply draw a smiley face with big mouth, and then just add tooth by tooth for every time they do a good job. You don't have to go too overboard and make something extremely complicated, but you definitely want to use a reward system, because that is one of the biggest part of the lesson later on when you continue on with children. Yes, there is actually one bonus tip, which I think it's not as crucial as all of these I mentioned, but I think it can definitely only be a plus if you do so, and that is the classroom background. This is actually how my classroom looks like now, but as I said, you don't have to do this. I don't think it's crucial. It all comes down to your performance, but if you do choose to make a classroom background, it can only make you seem more professional and more prepared. So if you do have some extra time, I highly recommend you do so. And those are basically all of my tips. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I was pretty helpful. So until one of my next videos, where I will be sharing some of the reward system ideas I've been using, I will see you soon. Bye!